This week's video was supposed to be a gig diary, but unfortunately I caught COVID and had to isolate for 8 days, so I missed both the gigs, which was unfortunate because they were quite well paid gigs, and also I missed my daughter's birthday because I was having to hide in the bedroom away from everyone, and luckily none of the rest of the family caught it. Fortunately this time I didn't feel too ill with COVID, so I was able to complete some of my other work. I've been commissioned to write some acoustic guitar pieces, and one of them in particular was a kind of Tony Ross style bluegrass thing which I wrote and recorded, and I'm very pleased with the way that's come out, so I'm hoping in the next few weeks I might be able to do a video on that. And also I've been having some Zoom meetings where I can't pass on my germs, and I've got some exciting news hopefully to announce in the next few weeks about my new album which will be released later this year. And if you haven't checked out any of my original music, it's all linked off my website, which is www.iamtjwalker.com, so go and have a look on there and check it out. Now originally the gig diary was going to be featuring a new microphone that I bought, this. Now I shall go more into this later, but I bought one of these because I'd been using this on some gigs where the sound man had put this on my amp and I was getting some good in-ear sound, so I was going to do a couple of gigs with in-ears, so I thought I'd buy myself one. So not having a gig to use it on or do any footage of to put on my video this week, I thought, what can I do at home with it? Well, I've got my Vibroverb amp here, which I have captured in the past, but I thought I'm going to capture that and I'm going to have it at the kind of volumes that Stevie Ray Vaughan was playing it at, which was pretty loud. And I'm going to go into that in a little while. So basically this video I'm going to play the track with the preset that I used, the capture of that amp. I set up a preset. I'm going to show you how I captured it, and then I'm going to show you how I set the preset up. So with no further ado, here comes the track. Right, well, let's have a look at this Vibroverb amp. It's the 64 Custom, the one that Fender brought out, must be 10-15 years ago now. I'll have to check that, but it's the reissue, the hand-wired reissue of the black-faced Vibroverb with the 115-inch speaker that Stevie Ray Vaughan used a pair of, I believe. I think he had 1 and 2 or something. Anyway, he used to run this, 2 of them together, along with his Dumble as well. And I heard that he ran the amp with everything on 7, and then at the end of the night he would do this. Let's see if I can do it. I'm not as cool as Stevie to do it, but he'd run his run his hand along the bottom of there just to whack everything onto absolutely full volume. So what I'm thinking is the best way to try and get that Stevie Ray Vaughan sound is to put everything on 7 and see where we go from there. He also had the bright switch on, so I'm going to set it like this. Now this particular one, it looks very dusty, doesn't it? I should have dusted it before I started this video. Oof, nasty. So this one, now I'm going to move the amp round so we can have a look. It has the mods on that Caesar, I have to look that up, Caesar Ramirez or something. He was the tech that modded Stevie Ray Vaughan's amps. It was the modifications he put on. So one of them is he kind of combines the normal channel with the vibrato channel, so you get the gain from both. And when you've got that mod switched in, which I'll show you how you switch it in, you can't use this channel, and it also disables the vibrato. So I think it uses the valve that the vibrato uses to add more gain. And the second modification he did, he changed the rectifier, the valve rectifier, to a diode rectifier. Because he was running the amp so hot, the valve rectifier, it would sag too much and he didn't like it. I have to say, when I use this amp, I sometimes use the mod that disables the one channel and gives you a bit more gain, but I don't like the sound of the diode rectifier quite as much. It's a bit, I quite like the sag of the valve rectifier, but then I'm never running the amp as loud. I mean, if I did a gig where I had everything on 7, I think I'd probably never get the gig again. Whereas Stevie Ray Vaughan was using 2 of these on 7 and 100, was it 100 or 200 watt Dumble? It must have been deafening. Anyway, let's have a look at the back of this. I've just moved the amp and I think I've just discovered where I've been going wrong. This book, I've been using it to prop up my Vibroverb on top of my Vibro King because that doesn't sit properly with the handles, and I've been using this book. Well, perhaps if I was reading it rather than using it as an amplifier stand, I might have got a bit further. Oh well. Anyway, so the back of this amp, that's the switch to switch in the tube rectifier and diode rectifier. So it actually makes it 50 watt output if you switch onto the diode rectifier, but as you can see, I've got it on the tube rectifier. I am going to swap that. I don't like switching that when it's turned on because it makes a clonk. And then the second one, so as you can see, stock Vibroverb, or if it's modified, it disables the normal channel and the vibrato. You get more gain and overdrive. So before I put this back on the wall, I'm going to switch that. So now we've got this in full Stevie Ray Vaughan mode. Right, let's put this back. Let's put it back on top of the How to Succeed in the Music Business book. We don't need that today. I'm not trying to succeed in the music business today. I'm just trying to succeed in the capturing my Vibroverb. Now what I bought to use for my 2 gigs, which I wasn't able to do, was I bought one of these microphones. Every time I've used one of these microphones, I've had a fantastic sound in my in-ears. I was advised, probably quite rightly, that they do 2 of these. They do a 906 and a 609. Now the 906 has switches on to alter the, I think there's cut-offs and maybe the pickup pattern on it, and they're sort of twice the price. And I was advised to get that one because it sounds better because it's got more top end. But then I was also advised by a different sound man who told me that he prefers the cheaper one for guitars because it, precisely for that reason, it rolls off the top end. And I have to say, when I'm close miking a guitar, that kind of harsh top end I don't like, and I've really liked the sound I've got in my in-ears with the 609, which is fortunate because it was half the price. So this was 75 quid in the UK. I'm going to try capturing the amp with this. I can't take it out one-handed, so I'll take that out in a minute. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to dangle it in front of the speaker, slightly off to the side, because the centre of the speaker always sounds quite harsh. I have captured this amp before using my SM57, which is here, just as sort of fairly standard. I think I've had reasonable results with these with my in-ears as well. I think the difference with these is where you put them on the stand, because they vary more, whereas the Sennheiser, because it's designed to fit flat on the grill, it sits there at the right angle, whereas there's so many variables when you've got one of these on a stand. You can either dangle it so it's off axis. Anyway, I thought I'd get one of these Sennheisers and see how it works. So I'm going to get this all set up, and I'll show you the setup once I've done it. Now, actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I proceed, and I've been asked some questions about this in the comments, and I think this is very important, is I'm going to put my ear protection in, because in this small room, this amplifier is going to be absolutely deafening, and I will never stand next to a loud amp without my ear protection in these days, which is why I don't have any hearing loss or tinnitus, despite the fact I've been standing next to noisy guitar amps, noisy drummers for the last 30 years. So here we go. These are my moulded earplugs. They reduce the decibels by, I think, -17, and these are supposed to be the most natural sounding ones. If you're in the UK and you're in the Musicians Union, you can join their musicians hearing services, and you can get these for about 30 quid, I think they were when I got them. If you pay full price, they're like over 100. So definitely worth getting. I don't have any hearing problems as such, and it's because I've been wearing these or similar ones for 15 years. Right, back to setting up the amp. Okay, I've plugged it all in. I can't hear anything because I've realised I needed my headphones as well, and I've got my earplugs in. So if I'm shouting, that's probably why. So I've got it all set up here. I've got the Sennheiser mic positioned, you can see it quite well there, sort of off centre on the grill. I'm plugged into one on the vibrato channel. Well, I'm worried now because it's going to be very loud, but I'm going to turn on the amp, which I haven't done yet. You can already hear, very buzzy. Right, so I need to get a level on the guitar. Too much reverb. In fact, for these purposes, I don't want the reverb on at all. That Stevie Ray Vaughan may have had his reverb on 7, but I don't want it on 7 minutes. I can't play and adjust at the same time, but I've set the level so it looks reasonable. Right, let's start the capture. Right, I think that's the end of the funny noises. It was so loud, it was making the microphone wobble on the front of the grill cloth. I'll be fascinated to hear what this is going to sound like. Hopefully that buzzing isn't going to be too evident in the capture. I don't know how he managed to have that so loud on stage. It must have been painful. Right, I'm going to let this finish. It's on about 39% now. I know it takes about 5 minutes for it to train itself, and then I shall plug it into the computer, or I'll check out the headphones first, then I'll plug it into the computer and see how it sounds. Right, this is the Vibroverb capture on its own. I've boosted the bass slightly in the middle, backed off the treble because it was a bit toppy. I'll show you. I preferred it backed off a little bit. So that was the capture that you saw in the video. That was the sound that it made. So it's quite a good sound. It's not that distorted, or that overdriven as much as I thought it would be. So what I've done on this preset is I've added a spring reverb. Why is that not coming on? There we go. Because you don't do the capture with a spring reverb on. Because you add it later. And then what I did to try and get that kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan sound, I'm going to turn off the volume on the Vibroverb there and bring the volume up, I decided to add another amp. And what I've added is it's like a Friedman 100 watt clean to try and add the way Stevie Ray Vaughan did. So he'd have the Vibroverb running distorted, and then he'd have his Dumble. Prior to that, he used to have a Marshall, I think, Marshall Major, but then he had his Dumble steel string singer running clean. And I've heard about other players trying to use 2 amps, so one amp might be scooped and the other one is giving you all the mids. So I wanted this clean and a bit bright. I did actually turn it down a bit. I've put the brightness on, so that's just a clean sound, and I put it through a 4x12 cab. So then if I blend the two, let's take this one out again so you can hear it. And then to make up the rest of the preset, so when I started at the start of the track that you heard, I've also got a like an 1176 compressor on there, which softens the top out a little bit. And I like to have, keep hitting that mic, I like to have an ambient reverb, just makes it sound nicer in the headphones. I don't think I used that when I was recording actually, but I've put that on there because that's nice for monitoring with headphones. Then I added some EQ here. Again, I felt it was a little bit toppy, the Vibroverb. Rolled off some of that real top end, and then I wanted to boost the mid on the Friedman. Because the Vibroverb's quite a scooped sound, so I wanted to put some of the mids back in. Let's just do that again. Let's turn off that compressor, and then if I take the volume out, I can see little hairs everywhere here. So that's the Vibroverb on its own with that EQ in. And then if I add in kind of beefs it up a bit. Okay, so let's put that compressor back in. Put it in the stomp mode here, and then I thought just for a couple of extra Stevie Ray Vaughan-y type bits, I've put in a tube screamer with no overdrive on it, and the tone backs off a little bit. Just check I've got these all on properly. Yep. So that's what I kicked in on the second chorus. And I put a wah-wah on, which I think is the Bad Horse one, and I've got it set up on the expression pedal so when the heel's down it's off, and when I put the heel on it activates it. And then finally I added a rotary just so you can get that kind of which I did in the third or fourth chorus. There we are, so that's the preset, that's what I did. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you liked the sound I got from the Vibroverb. I thought it was a pretty good capture. Please hit subscribe leave me a comment. I'm bringing out new videos every week, so I'll see you next time.